Shocking! $108 trillion has been authorized in your name. Check it before midnight. Prayer for money. Pause here with me, my friend, and breathe. Do not scroll past your own appointment. This moment is not random. It is arranged. I am speaking straight to you with care and clarity. Taking the message you brought. Shocking. $108 trillion has been authorized in your name. Check it before midnight. Prayer for money, and guiding it into wisdom you can put to work today. Hear me. Do not argue with how. Agree with who. The source is faithful, and the path opens when your heart does, even if it feels wild to you. The vault of $108 trillion is a picture of overflow, a reminder that supply is not your enemy, but your assignment to the steward. You learn to steward it by aligning your choices, your thoughts, and your words. You asked for proof, yet the proof is already moving toward you in quiet lines. An email you have not opened yet, a name you will hear twice today, a door that did not budge last month but will ease under your hand before 9 p.m. tonight. Look for the signs, not as superstition, but as stewardship, because they are rehearsals of fulfillment. If you feel this does not belong to you, you may go, but those who stay, few as they are, will taste a quiet triumph that does not shout in public but settles like a crown in the soul. Now stay and let me teach you gently. You have measured your life by what leaked, but heaven measures it by what remained, multiplied and compounded in secret. Every time you blessed instead of bittered, you deposited into a ledger you could not see. Gratitude was never polite manners. It was capital. When you whispered thank you with rent due and pride stung, you were underwriting tomorrow's overflow. When you shared a small portion, a word, a moment, a meal, you were buying equity in a future only faith could appraise. Child, gratitude is not a response to abundance. Gratitude manufactures abundance. It turns a single seed into a field with harvests stacked into years. Reverse the order, be grateful now, and then watch it happen. Let me add a real story to anchor your hope. A young mother named Maya told me she was down to the last of her savings, praying a simple money prayer and a steady prayer for finances each morning. No theatrics, just trust. She chose to be still, to keep blessing others, to keep a small tithe of time to call her father, to send one encouraging message a day. That week, an old client reached out with overdue payment. Then a second opportunity arrived through a friend of a friend. While she waited, she kept a quiet prayer for financial breakthrough on her lips and thanked God for every small sign. When peace arrived first, the paperwork followed, exactly as promised. Could you let peace lead you the same way? Could you choose stillness for a moment and ask, what is the single obedient step I can take today? Urgency is a tutor that trains you to treat moments like keys, not souvenirs. Watch how the signs align by 2 and by 3. The number 108 surfacing in places you least expect. A conversation that circles back. A message that lands right when you say, I trust you. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates. Trace them and you will step into intersections designed for transfer. What others call luck will simply be you standing where you were told. When you were told, obedience is the shortest road between prayer and provision. Your obedience can be as practical as opening the email, returning the call, sending the proposal, or forgiving the debt that still knots your chest. As you move, keep your heart steady with another quiet money prayer, a grounded prayer for finances, and the simple intention to attract money by attracting wisdom. Generosity attracts wise partnerships. Diligence attracts open doors. Integrity attracts endurance. This is not about chasing cash, but about becoming the kind of person who can carry it without cracking. I am teaching you the wealth technology of stillness. Be still enough to notice the nudge. Be swift enough to respond. Let your daily prayer for financial breakthrough be less about panic and more about alignment. Let your money prayer sound like this, God. Guide my steps, correct my motives, multiply what I release and what I receive. Then act. Send the resume, ask for the review, show up early, bless the room. When the next sign lands, whisper thank you. Your path is not performance. It is participation. Your gratitude is the ignition. So tell me, what patterns have you noticed repeating? Which names keep returning? Where has peace arrived before the paperwork? And what one faithful step can you take today? Stay and listen, because your miracle has learned to move softly. It will be heard by those who lean in. If you choose to lean in now, keep 2 anchors in your pocket: a daily prayer for finances that invites wisdom and courage, and a humble habit of gratitude that keeps your hands open. Do this, and you will naturally attract money through service, excellence, and trust. Your quiet prayer for financial breakthrough will meet your practiced obedience at precisely the right intersection. Let peace lead. Take the next small step. And remember, these lesson lines give thanks first, and the flow follows. Look for patterns and treat them as coordinates. Act in obedience and shorten the road. Keep a living rhythm of money prayer without panic. Practice a steady prayer for finances that shapes your character. And hold this truth close: when peace arrives first, paperwork must follow. Now, listen closely, because this message is not a coincidence. It's a divine appointment sent to reach your spirit exactly where you are. A decree has been released, like thunder that knows your address, whispering a truth so powerful it could change your life if you let it. 108 trillion blessings. Yes, you heard right. 108 trillion have been authorized in your name. But this isn't just about money. It's about time restored, debts erased, ideas revived, opportunities reintroduced, and the divine favor that has your name written on it. What if I told you that your season of waiting has been preparing you, not punishing you? That the very moments you thought were silent were actually sacred pauses where heaven was aligning things in your favor. You have called it a dream. But heaven calls it a delivery, something tangible, measurable, and meant for you to hold. So, my friend, stop chasing and start standing still long enough to be found. You will not beg. You will be invited. When the door opens, let gratitude keep it open, for ingratitude slams doors from the inside. Take a breath right now. Don't scroll past your own moment. You have 6 minutes, 6 minutes that could reroute an entire decade. The vault of heaven is opening with your name engraved on the seal. Do not argue with how it will happen. Agree with who made the promise. The proof you've been asking for is already on its way, a message you haven't opened yet, a name you'll hear more than once today, a door that didn't budge before, but will open softly under your hand before 9 tonight. Do you see how the divine works? The signs are never random. They are rehearsals of fulfillment. Maybe this sounds like it's too big for you, but let me remind you, God doesn't consult your bank account to decide your destiny. If you're still here reading, that means this message belongs to you. Those who stay until the end will taste a quiet kind of victory, the kind that doesn't shout in public but settles like peace in your soul. You may have measured your life by what leaked, by what you lost, but heaven measures it by what remained, multiplied in secret. Every time you blessed someone, instead of becoming bitter, you made a deposit in a ledger you couldn't see. Every time you whispered thank you when the rent was due or when your pride was wounded, you were investing in a future that faith alone could appraise. Gratitude was never about polite manners. It was a spiritual currency. When you gave even a small thing, a moment, a word, a meal, you were buying equity in a future overflowing with divine return. Remember this truth: gratitude is not a response to abundance. Gratitude manufactures abundance. It is the seed that multiplies itself into harvests across years and generations. You've been saying, when it happens, then I'll be grateful. But heaven has been saying all along, be grateful, and then it will happen. The order matters, and reversing it changes everything. That's why you are being called now, before 9 tonight, because windows don't stay open forever. They open, they close. This is not a threat, it's a training moment. Urgency teaches you to treat moments like keys, not souvenirs. Watch how the signs align, by 2s, by 3s, the number 108 appearing where you least expect it, a conversation circling back, a message landing right as you whisper, I trust you. These are not coincidences, they are coordinates to divine intersections. Follow them and you'll step into the exact place designed for your transfer of blessing. Others may call it luck, but you'll know it was obedience. Obedience is the shortest road between prayer and provision. And when you make your prayer for financial breakthrough, when you speak your prayer for finances with faith, the heavens respond faster than you can calculate. Many will scroll past, waiting for something louder, but your miracle doesn't need volume, it requires vision. God often moves quietly, so only those who listen can hear. Lean in, because heaven is teaching you what I call the wealth technology of stillness. When you're still, you can notice the divine nudge. When you're swift to respond, doors open before you even knock. Look for signs, not as superstition but as stewardship. The kingdom speaks in patterns, repeated names, aligned timing, unexplainable favor, and peace that comes before paperwork. When peace arrives first, the paperwork must follow. Let peace lead you. Now hear this decree again, because it bears repeating like thunder that knows your address. 108 trillion blessings are released to your stewardship, measured not only in currency but in contracts fulfilled, debts canceled, reputations restored, time redeemed, land reclaimed, inventions remembered, and dreams inside you waking up in full strength. You have called it a dream. Heaven calls it deliverables. You will not chase, you will be found. You will not beg, you will be invited. And when that invitation comes, gratitude will keep the door open. Ingratitude, on the other hand, slams doors from within. There's a true story that mirrors this truth. A man once prayed every night for a financial breakthrough. He worked hard, but saw little change. One evening, he stopped asking and started thanking God instead, thanking Him for blessings not yet seen. Within a week, an old client called with a long-forgotten payment. Within a month, a new opportunity doubled his income. He later said, "It wasn't the prayer for money that changed things, it was the gratitude that attracted it." And that's the secret. Gratitude is magnetic. When you thank God before you see the result, you align yourself with the flow of heaven. So today, make your money prayer not a cry of desperation, but a declaration of trust. Say, God, I am grateful in advance. That single shift turns prayer for finances into power for finances. So I ask you, are you ready to receive what's already yours? Are you willing to trust that heaven knows your address better than you do? If you are, pause for a moment. Speak gratitude out loud. Let it echo through your space. Feel peace arriving before the paperwork, and know that something has already moved in your favor. The lesson today is simple but sacred. Gratitude is the gate to abundance. Obedience is the key to provision. Faith is the bridge between your prayer for financial breakthrough and the blessing waiting for you to claim it. Stay faithful, stay thankful, and remember, God is never late, only precise. Your name is already on the blessing. All you have to do is agree with it. Yes, you are standing somewhere right now, maybe in your kitchen, your car, your tiny studio, or a quiet corner at work. I want you to look down at the ground beneath your feet and name it with courage. Call it your field, your starting block, your sacred launch pad. Because when you mark a place with expectation, you consecrate it as a staging area for answers. In this moment, I am speaking straight to you because I believe your hour has come, not for clicks, not for trends, but because your agreement feeds your future. Every agreement is a signature. Every signature authorizes a transfer. And you have signed for other people's packages long enough. Today, sign for your own. Let your heart ask the open question, what would it feel like to receive what has always been addressed to me? What if the delivery door has been open this whole time? You've said before, why me? And here's why. Because you stayed kind when cynicism felt smarter. Because you offered honor in rooms that paid you with silence. Because you kept learning when it looked too late to start. I noticed, kindness is never a side quest. It is the main road. The generous soul gets generational results. And no, this is not payback. It is pay forward. What arrives to you will arrive through you. That flow is your safety. When money moves, fear starves, and your inner market gets reordered. So ask yourself, what price tag have I let other people hang on my calling? And what would happen if I stopped discounting what has already been premium stamped inside me? Lift your head now and say with me, I welcome what heaven wired to my name. This is not hype. This is a handover. Even now, as the day edges toward night, you may sense a shift, a message answered, a meeting confirmed, a mind clearing, a burden lifting, a number aligning into place. Before 9 p.m., I believe you will be given a token, small enough to ignore, holy enough to know. Do not ignore it. Receive it with gratitude, and gratitude will multiply it while you sleep. If your heart is racing, it is because truth is passing close. If your mind argues, let it. Faith is not a debate. It is a decision. And you decided to stay here with me for these next 6 minutes. That choice, simple as a steady breath, has already moved you lanes. Some will say, I'll catch this next time, but they won't. You will, because you chose now, because you chose to look for signs instead of waiting for fireworks, because you chose gratitude as your first language, not your last resort. And if you will hold still one more moment and listen, you will hear the rewrite beginning. The delay has reached its statute of limitations. The ledger is posting, the window is open, and as you stand there, you can feel the wind of what's coming. Don't clutch, cup your hands. What you cup, you can pour. What you pour, I will refill. Stay with me into the next breath, and I'll show you where the first river breaks ground. Because you stayed, and that choice has already opened something unseen. You thought faith was a shout, but today it is a whisper that still moves mountains. What you felt a moment ago was not emotion, it was motion. Some part of your life is rolling forward on fresh rails. Gratitude is the ignition key. Nothing divine travels through complaint. When you thank before you can see, you sign a document heaven recognizes faster than ink on paper. Say it in your spirit again. Thank you for trusting me with this transfer. Watch how gratitude becomes gravity, drawing resources, allies, and ideas that have been orbiting your life for years. They are not new things, they are returning things. You've asked, why can't I see it yet? Because manifestation often waits for recognition. Once you recognize the gift already at work, the favor that spared you, the strength that kept you upright, the wisdom that grew while you waited, you create magnetic faith. This is the reversal. The world says, get it, then praise. The kingdom says praise, then get it. Gratitude is not reaction, it is construction. Every thankful word lays down infrastructure for wealth to travel safely. Without gratitude, blessing leaks. With gratitude, even the smallest stream turns into a system. And you are building right now, even as you listen. If part of your soul wonders whether any of this is allowed to be this good, let me share what steadies me through tight seasons. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1, and give, and it will be given to you. Luke 6:38. I'm not quoting to sound holy, but to ground you, because I believe God delights in meeting you in the practical details of rent, invoices, tuition, and time. So tell me, where do you want courage to show up first? Where do you need a gentle yes to replace the loud no in your head? Which room in your life would you open if you knew that God had already turned on the lights? You might be thinking of that astonishing line you heard somewhere. $108 trillion authorized in your name. Check it before midnight. And whether you take it as metaphor or miracle, let it remind you of this deeper truth that abundance has always been a current flowing past your door. Now, you are stepping into it, not to hoard, but to circulate. Because what comes to you can move through you. In my view, the phrase is less about a bank balance and more about a birthright of sufficiency, creativity, and contribution. If you are willing to practice the small daily yes, to breathe and say, I'm ready, then you are already acting on a prayer for financial miracle that moves you from grasping to gathering, from scarcity to stewardship, from noise to signal. Try this with me now. Whisper a prayer for financial miracle over your work, your ideas, your relationships, and over the place you called your field a moment ago. Ask with bright curiosity, what proof of progress could appear by nightfall if I welcomed it instead of doubting it? What if the door I keep knocking on is actually unlocked from within? What would I dare to ship, to pitch, to build, or to forgive if I trusted that God is not late, only thorough? Keep listening, because there is a practical rhythm humming underneath all this, the way intention harmonizes with attention, the way attention shapes choices, and the way your choices shape your days. This is where the law of attraction meets the law of action. You draw what you dwell on, and you advance what you act on. When you decide to look for tokens, you find them. The phone call you were too tired to return now brings a warm yes. The email you were too shy to send receives a surprising invitation. The idea you parked on a back shelf rolls forward and clicks. The refund you forgot about lands quietly in your account. As these tokens gather, bless them with gratitude and point them like a compass toward your larger assignment. Ask yourself, what one micro move can I take in the next hour that signals cooperation with grace? What tiny seed can I plant today that my tomorrow self will thank me for? Perhaps you are still uneasy talking about money, and I honor that, because the world has thrown dust in our eyes about it. Yet money in kinder hands becomes a tool, a travel pass, a scholarship, a spare chair at your table. I believe God trusts open hands more than closed fists, because open hands can give and receive. If you long for provision to meet your mission, allow yourself to pray again. Yes, a modest, audacious prayer for financial miracle. Not about flashing wealth, but about enoughness that ripples outward and keeps the lights on for others. If you worry about mixing faith with frameworks, Remember that the law of attraction does not cancel humility. It refines focus. It trains your imagination to partner with responsibility and helps you notice the doors already ajar in front of you. So here is how your next breaths might sound. Thank you for what is already moving. I bless what arrives, and I steward what stays. I release what must go, and I welcome what grows. As you speak that, feel how your pace steadies, how your spine lengthens, how your field starts to look less like dirt and more like a runway. Ask yourself softly, if I truly believed I had authorization to advance, what would be my first unafraid step if I believed my voice could carry? What would I dare to say if I believed my craft could sell? Who would I serve first? You are already different than the person who pressed play a short while ago. Choosing to keep company with hope rewires the hour. Choosing gratitude reroutes the day. When the hour reroutes and the day rewires, opportunities notice, helpers hear, and pathways appear. That is not accident, that is alignment. It is the living collaboration of spirit and schedule, of grace and grit. If you're tempted to delay, remember next times are fragile things, but this breath is sturdy, and the next friendly action is close. You can answer the nudge by writing the note, making the ask, starting the page, opening the file, stepping into the room, standing taller as you repeat, I welcome what has been wired to my name. This is not hype. This is a handover. As this handover unfolds, keep your eye on your tokens. Treat them like first fruits, because how you greet the small is how you meet the large. As you keep greeting the small, you'll find yourself drawn toward communities and ideas that amplify your contribution. Your career will begin to feel less like a maze and more like a map. Your home will feel less like a storage unit and more like a studio. And in those places, you'll speak two final phrases with calm authority. Thank you for trusting me, and let's get to work. Seal this moment by noticing one tangible kindness already present. A roof, a friend, a skill, a quiet room. Bless it. Bless your field. Honor your courage. Carry this conviction with you. You are allowed to prosper on purpose. You are allowed to circulate resources. You are allowed to be the person whose life says to others, keep going. And as you keep going, remember, with a smile, you can feel in your chest that the law of attraction is stronger when aligned with service, that money becomes most meaningful when it moves, that God is a better provider than fear is a planner, and that your yes today is big enough to meet the next open door. Some of you will feel tempted to scroll, thinking you've heard all this before. Go if you must. But those who stay, few though you are, will receive understanding deeper than information. You will feel the atmosphere of your room shift. You will sense that something is aligning, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped resisting it. This is divine economics. Surrender is the highest form of participation. The moment you rest in trust, transactions begin. Not the noisy kind, but the quiet ones where signatures of angels authorize what your faith requested. Before 9 p. Tonight, gratitude will show its proof. It may be a message that lightens your mind, a reconciliation that should have taken years, a name that appears twice in one day. Do not call it coincidence. Say, I see the sign. Gratitude keeps you alert. Alertness keeps you ready. Readiness is wealth management. What use is $1 trillion if the hands holding it tremble with fear or entitlement? But your hands, steady, open, grateful, are qualified to receive. Pause here and whisper. Everything good that happens today is evidence of the 108 trillion already moving. Let your words become currency. Every thank you is a deposit. Every complaint is a withdrawal. choose wisely which language you spend. I am teaching you fluency in abundance. And the first phrase is always gratitude. Remember, this is activation, not audition. You are not performing for favor. You are partnering with it. The system has already approved your access. Gratitude is simply your login. When you operate from gratitude, delay loses its disguise. You realize it was never denial, it was data gathering, divine algorithms arranging timing, preparing interest. Gratitude interprets waiting as investment. Without it, impatience bankrupts the spirit. With it, patience yields profit. You are now in the profitable waiting, where what you lost is calculating interest. You are not behind. You are precisely on schedule for the miracle that respects your maturity. I withheld some blessings not to punish you, but to protect them from misuse. Gratitude proves readiness. Complaint proves unreadiness. And you have shifted. You are ready. That is why this message found you. Now, not earlier, not later. Now is the hour when grace and growth shake hands. So here is the divine instruction between now and 9 toward Serutwar Mum. Walk as if it has already been transferred. Speak as if the receipt is printed. Thank me not for what you hope to have, but for what you already carry: the peace, the patience, the ability to recognize alignment. Those are your first currencies. Use them well, and material blessing will arrive as confirmation, not compensation. Stay alert to subtle signs, a sudden calm where chaos lived, an idea that solves what once confused, a small sum that multiplies unexpectedly. These are not fragments, they are forecasts. Do not despise small beginnings. They are the headlines of greater stories. Gratitude magnifies them until they match the decree. Keep your heart clean from envy. Do not compare your chapter to another's completion. Comparison is counterfeit currency. Trade only in gratitude. It is the legal tender of heaven's economy. When you feel the rush of expectation rising inside you tonight, say simply, "Thank you. I'm ready." That sentence, spoken with faith, will open the gate others have been knocking on for years. The activation is done when you realize you are already inside what you once prayed to enter. You do not chase blessings. Blessings locate you through your frequency of gratitude. Stay in that frequency, for before 9 hours. Tonight, I will send you one unmistakable confirmation that your activation has succeeded. Stay watchful, stay thankful, and watch heaven prove that gratitude was never weakness. It was the wealth generator itself. Beloved one, lift your eyes. What I am doing now is not only in your life, but through it. Expansion is not addition. It is multiplication by revelation. You have been faithful over little. Now watch me make you ruler over much. Give, and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You once quoted that verse as hope. Tonight it becomes history. Do you feel it? The air itself feels different because gratitude has changed your altitude. You are breathing higher now. The fear that used to drag behind every dream cannot follow you. Here I am teaching you divine scalability, how to hold more without losing peace, how to rise without arrogance, how to prosper without forgetting purpose. This is expansion with integrity. The 108 trillion flow is not chaotic. It is organized abundance moving like a river that knows its banks. Every act of thanksgiving you sowed is now germinating. Some harvests come quietly, others will burst through the ground. Stay calm when both happen. Gratitude keeps you balanced when increase comes fast. You once thought expansion meant more work. I say it means more wisdom. The wise know when to move and when to remain still. Stillness is strategy. A grateful heart can hear instructions others miss because it listens without panic. Child, look again. The air has changed because heaven has entered the visible layer of your timeline. You prayed in private, but now the response begins to materialize in public. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You once read that verse as metaphor. Tonight you will read it as memo. A divine transaction cleared. Everything you have been sensing in fragments now aligns. Conversations that once seemed random start to connect. Emails, invitations, and open doors start threading a story that only God could script. Do not rush to explain it. Revelation needs silence before testimony. When the blessing appears, whisper gratitude before you announce it. Gratitude roots manifestation. Pride uproots it. There is a holy precision in how I move. Manifestation is never messy, it is meticulous. The 108 trillion does not fall from the sky. It flows through divine systems you are just beginning to understand. Expect restoration that feels too specific to be coincidence, old debts cleared without confrontation, approvals coming from unexpected sources, health returning where you stopped hoping. Each of these is a signature of my faithfulness, and I leave no signature unfinished. You asked me once why I delayed? Now you see the answer, because I was aligning the details so that blessing would not collapse under premature arrival. What looked sudden was actually scheduled. Miracles move like light fast when you finally see them. But they've been traveling toward you all along. Manifestation will test you the way lack once did. When the increase comes, remember humility is not hesitation. It is awareness of source. You do not need to apologize for abundance when it is covenantal. Wear it with quiet authority. People will ask, how did it happen? Tell them it was gratitude that unlocked it, not luck that found it. Look for the small confirmations. First, a name repeated twice today, a closed path reopening, an inner peace settling like warm oil. These are heaven's alerts that the manifestation phase has begun. Before 9 hour and I will show you one undeniable token, something so precise it will silence your doubt. Do not question it. Receive it with reverence. Say softly, it is happening. That phrase is the bridge between believing and becoming. The manifestation will not just touch your finances, it will touch your confidence, your relationships, your perception of time. You will no longer see waiting as punishment, but as preparation. When gratitude leads, manifestation follows effortlessly. You are learning that miracles are not rewards, they are reflections of alignment. Remember the covenant, what I place in your hands must keep flowing. Do not hoard miracles, multiply them. Share testimony wisely, not boastfully. When others hear your story, they should feel invited, not intimidated. That is how manifestation matures into ministry. This wealth, 108 trillion in tangible and intangible form, is arriving not to inflate ego, but to establish influence for good. You are called to be a living example that obedience still pays, that patience still profits, that faith still funds futures. The world needs that witness. So let every manifestation, large or small, point upward. And when the blessing shows up, don't run ahead of it, rest inside it. Feel its peace before you plan its use. Ask me how to manage what I've entrusted, and I will guide you to stewardship strategies that make no earthly sense, yet yield heavenly returns. For manifestation is not the finish line. It is the moment of revelation where you finally see what has been true all along. I never forgot. I never withheld. I only prepared. Breathe deeply. Now you are standing in the fulfillment zone. The silence you feel is not emptiness, it is fullness settling. Heaven has already wired the transfer.